Hi everyone, we're here with the energy update for the month of March. I was planning to record this last week, but as I mentioned in February's energy update, the last week of February was gonna be quite intense, and I had no idea what that meant for myself, for others, but we have definitely been seeing this. So it just wasn't possible last week for me to record, and I will get into that in a little bit. But first, let's let's do a little recap of what all happened in February, because it's important that we kind of look and see how we are now continuing to grow from this new clarity that is beginning to bud, beginning to emerge, beginning to become visible on the outside. So that is where we are right now. So late January, we saw this energy that was like being carried over into February. January had two gears, and February continued that spiral, but with gradually more clarity coming in, but still being invited to show restraint and to really save your energy. So we were still in this refining and reviewing mode. That's what February really was all about. And similar themes were repeating compared to January, but they were becoming a lot more easy to navigate and a lot less foggy and unclear. So it's still not a time to rush decisions. That is what really came through. And the emphasis was on observing. It was all about just being the observer of what is unfolding for you in your life. And that is definitely something that I've moved through in February, that other people have moved through in February. So, the beginning of February, we had the full moon in Leo. I'm reading off of my transcript from last month here. And the themes were really last month. Where am I dimming myself? Where am I performing for validation? Where do I genuinely want to be seen? And for what do I want to be seen? And the clarity was probably coming by the end of the month. So whatever that was for you, you're now gonna have somewhat more of clarity, and you may not know the right action steps yet, but you now know conceptually this is the direction that I'm going in right now. So burning through illusion to illuminate the truth again. That's the thing that the dragons always say. Breaking habits from New Year's resolution energy. And we're going to see, I'm going to talk about that. March is the true astronomical natural new year, and we're gonna really feel it because the energy is really supporting this new year, new cycle energy around the spring equinox. So recognizing fear programs versus true intuitive nudges, these things are going to start to become a lot more clear in March, and that was starting to become clear near the end of February. So first of all, let's say hello to Lionel. I don't know if you can see my cat over there. He is looking out the window. The weather is starting to be a little bit nicer, so it is becoming spring. Anyway, so yeah, the full moon in Leo last month is where we started to be confronted with these things that needed our attention without diving in and putting all our energy into it. Because now you will have noticed with the Mercury retrograde beginning, if you saved that energy, like I kind of advised you to do last month, you will see that now you are not burnt out fully. And I went through a whole big situation the last 2 weeks of February that if I would have not followed my own advice, I would have absolutely had a way harder time with that situation. So the first half of February, Mercury and Venus moved into Pisces. So a lot of just your field opening, sensing more things, becoming more clear, the emotional field getting in tune with what's happening in your body. So that type of stuff. But then mid-February, we started to see how clarity was starting to become more solidified. What is it that we want? And things were being presented to us that made us really have to look at what it is that we want. And that's why we really needed to save that energy and not dive into everything that we immediately feel, because we were not yet clear on where these motivations were coming from, if it was coming from fear or if it was coming from a true intuitive nudge. And you are probably going to be a whole different person today than you were in the beginning of February. And so the end of February was Mercury going retrograde in Pisces, a refinement phase, all about integrating these insights. So that's what's really been coming up probably last week for everybody, really. You're feeling this crucifixion and resurrection energy. And I talk about that a lot. A mental crucifixion and a resurrection. And you may still be fully in this. And it may have felt like mentally you were like dying and being reborn. All these things were just going very fast, all of a sudden, near the end of February. And yeah, but the clarity is also coming with that. So through difficult things, through obstacles, through challenges, you will have noticed that the things that maybe you thought you didn't want, or the things that you didn't think you could do, that suddenly you could do these things, or that you could do them differently, or putting things in perspective, like things getting reorganized, stuff is being put into a different perspective. So letting go of limited identities, that was the theme of the last week of the month. Letting go of limited identities. So that definitely happened for me. And what are you doing, Lionel? My cat is here. You want to say something? No? Yeah, all his stuff is here, as you can see, this bed. It's all his stuff. You need to move now. Your tail's gonna get it stuck, okay? So yeah, let's continue. Where were we? Aligning personal will with divine will. You're going to get more clear. You will have gotten a little more clear on what that looks like for you. So the core themes of last month were all about clarity, slow-paced clarity, and kind of going in a spiral instead of in a straight line, just letting whatever needs to be revealed to you reveal itself, and you are still going up and up in becoming aware of what the clarity looks like without rushing it. And grounding, staying very grounded, staying present with what is here now. Don't go floating off. That was the whole theme of February. So releasing fear-based identities. For a lot of people, a lot of fear came up, their fears. What if this would happen? Oh my God. And then something similar happened to make you see that you could actually overcome this. So yeah. Now, let's look at this month, the month of March. We're going to do a little recap. We're going to go over it real quick, and then we're going to dive in deeper the way that we usually do these things. I haven't pulled any cards yet because I'm going to just do that while we are doing this. So, yeah. To me, it feels like I'm talking live, like we're talking to each other, and I'm hearing your responses, and you're saying, oh my God, I know what you're saying. I recognize it. It is this and this and this that's happening in my life. And it's like I'm already feeling it through time and space. So, yeah. And also, of course, I say that all the time. If you want personalized advice, you hear this whole thing and you're like, wow, that's crazy. All of this sounds like it's happening for me. I recognize it. I feel it. What would that look like personally? I have readings available. You can just reach out. You can look on my website and see if maybe there's something that would give you more clarity, extra on top of this general reading for this month. But so the themes for March is, oopsie, the cat again. Yep. I'm gonna just quickly let him out of the room. Okay, theme number 1. There is a truth and revelation energy. So, what does that mean? That we're seeing a revelation energy because of this Pisces influence. Hidden karmic cycles are now being finalized. We're starting to see, and this is not necessarily just from this lifetime. We're going to dive deeper into that. Hidden karmic cycles are surfacing for final resolution. So don't resist disclosure, basically. This is a door shutting, let it close. And be open without fear to what the next door will be. Inner clearing before outer action. March is a time when the soul is asking what needs to be felt before it can be acted upon, which is similar to last month, but now this clarity is also there. So now we have the extra clarity, which first is going to bring us into the emotional body, feeling what needs to be felt. So that's the thing. March is going to be the first 3 weeks, conceptual understanding of the new timeline that you are on. And then by the end of that month, we're diving into taking action on that. So January, February, March, there's a similar theme where there's a pattern for the first half, and the second half then leads into the theme of the next month where the thing repeats itself, but there's always more clarity and more shedding compared to January, where it was very foggy and where it was just like being okay in the void. Now we are out of the void. We are now already out of it, but you're standing and observing, but you're out of it. So where are we? So yeah, that is a perfect energy that matches Mercury retrograde and eclipse stuff that we're now dealing with. We're now coming out of this eclipse energy, a lot of deep processing, emotional clarity, releasing what no longer resonates, which is just something you should always be doing. But now it's going to be coming more to the forefront. Now, physical and nervous system sensitivity. So there's a nervous system upgrade, and you may feel this in your body. You're going to be more physically sensitive to these things, and that definitely happened with me in February. So that now in March, I'm really being asked to feel into my body even more as the compass for my intuition, which is something that I also say a lot. Your body is the compass for the intuitive answers that you are wanting to receive. So, where are we? Yeah. So it may feel like there's a lot of stuff buzzing, alert energy that is trying to get your attention. Ground it in, take it into the body. And that is how you will decipher what all this static energy is. But it's not a static like last month where it's just very noisy. It's more like the ideas are here and you are absorbing them into the body by grounding properly so that they can bring even more clarity and not just be all this noise and you don't know where to begin. So that is going to be important for the first 3 weeks of March especially. Now, sacred balancing. So by the time that we get to the equinox, the 20th, 21st of March, the spring, the official spring, you're going to feel that there's like all this liveliness. It's going to feel alive with, yeah, like the buds are starting to flower of these ideas that you've been planting in February specifically. So it's like the quiet before the moving forward in an aligned way. And you're not going to be exhausted from this because you will have really measured out your energetic output so that you can now dive into it when the time is right. So that's what's coming up. There's a lot of and that word sovereignty is so overused in the spiritual community. Sovereignty here, sovereignty there. Authenticity, another one, but that is what is coming up. That and push like towards being your full unique individual self. That is going to be the result of all of this energy, and the last week of this month you're going to know how to do this. There's not going to be any thinking involved. It's just going to naturally happen because you have taken the time to observe all of this stuff that is happening, basically. So, yeah, that is kind of the theme. So, if you are watching this as a free subscriber, I hope that this was helpful. If you would like to watch this full thing and dive into the full update with me, because now I'm going to dive into everything, we're going to look at it, we're going to zoom in and be more specific. You can always upgrade for $8 a month. It is the price of like a coffee at Starbucks, whatever, and you get a ton of stuff. You get energy updates like this, you get meditations, you get channeled messages, you get extra articles, you get a members only chat. And yeah, and I'm gonna start to post mini courses, tutorials, classes, and stuff like this. So definitely consider subscribing.